So last night I just did a little bit of side research, so I figured this would be like a primer before I get into my meaty videos for previews of the rounds to come. Anaheim, Calgary. Anaheim has played Calgary twice and won. Was that? Yeah, no, I got this today. Woo! Um, it's a large, so I kind of swim in it, but I don't care because it's the Kings' 50th anniversary jersey, and it matches a hat I've had for like a year, and it matches it perfectly. There's the crown. There's the crown. It's awesome. So yeah, so that I got that out of the way. So Anaheim has played Calgary in the playoffs twice. They've beaten them twice. The most recent was 2015 when they won in 5. They won in 6 on the other occasion. Boston's never played Ottawa in the playoffs. I was pretty sure about that. I double checked, and yeah, they never played each other. Very exciting. Chicago's played Nashville twice and beat them both times. Both times there were 6 games. The most recent was in 2015. That was in round 1. Oh, the Calgary loss in 2015 was in round 2. Calgary fans are like, I know. I'm just saying this for everybody. Pittsburgh's only played Columbus once, but Columbus has only been in the playoffs twice. And it was a 6-game loss in 2014. Broke my heart because Columbus was so close. And if you're a Columbus fan, you know there was a momentum shift, and they just couldn't come back from it because you knew if it was a 7-game series, if they'd forced Game 7, Pittsburgh may very well have choked that one out. Edmonton's played San Jose once. That was a 6-game victory for Edmonton back in 2006. So that was the last time they made the playoffs, and it was their on their way to the Stanley Cup. So Edmonton fans, you can go ahead and just let that percolate in your brain for a bit. That the last time you guys played San Jose in the playoffs, you ended up going to the Stanley Cup final, which was the last time you made the playoffs. Minnesota's played St. Louis once, and it sounds so weird to say it because growing up, the Minnesota North Stars and the St. Louis Blues seemed to play each other a lot. This is the Minnesota Wild. It's a different organization. The only meeting was in 2015. It was in round 1, and Minnesota won it in 6. Montreal and the Rangers. They've played each other 15 times in the playoffs. The Rangers have won 8 times, and they won the last time they met in 2014. It was in the conference final, and it was a 6-game series. This is not that same team, but it's going to be fun to watch. Toronto and Washington have never played each other in the playoffs. Then I got into, okay, well, what about the teams that have missed the playoffs? This is where it kind of gets sad. Winnipeg missed the playoffs. That's the 15th time it's happened in 17 years. Vancouver's missed the playoffs now 3 times in the last 4 years. Tampa's missed was the first time they've missed the playoffs in the last 4 years. The Philadelphia Flyers have missed the playoffs 3 out of the last 5 years. The New York Islanders have missed the playoffs twice in the last 4 years. New Jersey's missed it 5 out of the last 6. The LA Kings have missed 2 out of the last 3. Florida's missed 4 out of the last 5. The Detroit Red Wings have missed 1 of the last 26 playoffs. And they've been in 25 in a row. This is the first time they've missed in 26 years. Dallas has missed 7 out of 9. And I probably could have told you that from memory without looking it up. Because it's been a rough patch. I know, people are going to say, well, last year you won the division. Believe me, when it's a blip like that, and your team normally is just a festering piece of garbage, it just seems like Dallas is close. And I think it's worse knowing your team is close to being good or potentially really good in a contender and just can't put it together than it is just knowing you got to do a full rebuild. I think there's a different mentality with full rebuild than just knowing if only we could fix this one thing. Colorado's missed 6 out of the last 7. Carolina's missed 8 years in a row, and they've missed 10 out of the last 11 playoffs. Buffalo's missed their last 6 in a row, and the Arizona Coyotes have missed their last 5 in a row. So those are the futility records as of this year. And just for fun, which ones are going to break out of that futility next year? I think Winnipeg goes back to the playoffs next year. Vancouver, no. Tampa, yes. Philly should. The Islanders could. New Jersey, probably not. The Kings, not unless they do something major. Florida, they took a step in the right direction today. There's so many things I could do videos on today. So many things have started happening. Detroit, maybe. Colorado, no. Carolina, yes, I've talked about it in videos lately, yes. Buffalo, it's hard to make that prediction. But Buffalo, I think, is in a better position now than they were a couple years ago. And if they win the draft lottery, if Buffalo were to come out of nowhere and win that draft lottery, that could be huge. Adding a Nico Hischier or a Nolan Patrick to that team, to that already combustible, fantastic forwards group, that would be fun. Would honestly be a lot of fun. Arizona, I don't know, man. I don't know what Shaka's doing down there. I don't know. I should touch on something though with Florida. Let's go back to Florida. Dale Tallon is now the GM of the Florida Panthers again. Last summer, Florida decided we're smarter than our GM, and we've decided that Moneyball is the way to play the game of hockey. And I remember Moneyball was a big thing in Vancouver when Mike Gillis was here. Moneyball. And the idea of using the deep stats, the advanced stats, to pick a guy who's undervalued on the marketplace that you can get for probably pretty cheap, and who will do all of those behind the scenes things to turn your team into a contender. And, people truck out all these advanced stats, and that's the kind of thing that, they figured was going to work. And Tallon being shoved aside was weird because Dale Tallon made the Hawks what they are. At least started it. Stan Bowman's definitely continued that. But under Tallon, the reason Tallon was available to Florida is for the botched restricted free agency issue he had. And somebody can correct me in the comments below, but I believe you have a deadline to match, to qualify your restricted free agents. So I think it's 10% above their current wage. You give them their qualifying offers, and then you can negotiate from there. He didn't submit the qualifying offers in time. So they all became restricted, and they had far more leverage, and he had to pay them a lot of money, and it gave Blackhawks management headaches because now there were major cap problems as a result of not submitting the paperwork in time. And I always felt like that's why Tallon was gone out of Chicago, because it meant it was a headache and they had to tear the team apart, which they probably would have had to do anyways, but he definitely didn't make it better. In Florida, he built a team last year that won their division. I'm pretty sure. I think Florida won their division. I'm just thinking back a year. Before people mention it in the comments. I can just look at Florida. Come on, Florida. Yeah, they were first in the Atlantic last year. Third in the East. They lost in the first round. And when they lost in the first round, the ownership group felt that they knew what they needed to do to fix what was wrong, and they could see some issues, and they decided to fix them before they became a problem. And it's that old phrase, don't fix something that's not broken. And it's what they did. They fixed something that wasn't broken. I remember over the summer, my concern was with all the new faces, especially on the blue line. I said it's hard to get a cohesive unit. I know in Vancouver, there was a trade deadline in 2009, I think it was, where Nonis picked up Sean Brown. He picked up Weinrich, and name escapes me, but he looked just like Todd Bertuzzi. I was like, oh, good, now we got two Bertuzzis. Or, we replaced Bertuzzi with another Bertuzzi. Lookalike, anyways. But you get three blue liners, which seemed smart at the time because they had all kinds of blue line issues, and now they got all the depth. There was no cohesiveness between those players, and it fell apart. You can look at any team that completely changes its chemistry, and you can look at that first month on the schedule and say, these guys are probably going to struggle. Tampa tried it. Tampa tried it in 2000. I'm thinking 2008 or 2009, when they signed all the free agents. They went into July 1st like, okay, we're going to sign everybody, and then we're going to figure it out later. And they had all these players, and everybody said, oh, Tampa's so smart, and they got all these guys, and they fit them all under the cap, and they're going to be great. And it's part of the reason they have Stamkos, because it really failed just colossally. Because on paper, you can put together a team and go, okay, this should win. And that's what Florida did. I'm not doing this to crap on Florida here at all. I'm just saying the ownership group and management, Tom Rowe and the management team decided this is what we're going to do. This is what the team's going to look like. We're going to add these players, and this is going to be better. This is absolutely going to be better. And on paper, that may work. But until you know how that team's going to act together as a unit, it's impossible to tell. There's a good example I can use from one of these magazines. Because as a Canuck fan, I know about chemistry. 95, 96. When the Vancouver Canucks started to fall apart. Yep. They traded Mike Pekka for Alex Mogilny. So the Canucks had on their blue line Dave Babich, Jyrki Lumme, Jeff Brown, Brett Hedican, John Nemesnikov's on here. Evgeny Nemesnikov, he changed his name to John because they got tired of people butchering it. Jason Cullimore, Dana Merzen. Not a bad blue line. Up front, Baranek, who stinks. Pavel Bure, Russ Courtnall, Martin Jelena, Tim Hunter, gotta have some toughness in there. Trevor Linden, John McIntyre, good fourth line center. Alex Mogilny, Gino Wajcik, more toughness. Roman Aksuta, pretty useless, but you have Mike Ridley, Cliff Ronning, Christian Rutu, Alex Stoyanov, tons of toughness, lots of depth, lots of really solid scoring muscle up front. In net, Kirk McLean, Corey Hirsch, Kay Whitmore. You have 3 NHL-capable goaltenders. That was the start of the fall of the Canucks. When Mogilny came in, and Mogilny was good his first year. Mogilny scored a ton. But the team, it wasn't the same. And I remember looking at the Canucks back in 95 and 96 and watching it start to tank and going, something's wrong. And I'd watch them play, and you had all these, you added the right players. But when they all played together, crap happened. And there were too many guys that were let go, like Greg Adams, Jeff Courtnall, Sergio Momesso. These guys all went for nothing. And then eventually Cliff Ronning was gone for nothing. There are other guys in there who went for nothing. And nothing back for them. I believe Lume eventually went for nothing. And you can't do that. But you also can't add all these big names and expect it to just work. Because the year after that, they're like, yeah, we'll add Messier. That'll fix it. And it got worse. Now, what happened in Florida, they had all these guys, and it never quite clicked. There was the 5-game winning streak on the road. It looked like they were going to make the playoffs, and then it completely fell apart from there. So, bringing back Tallon, which was the rumor all season when Tom Rowe became the coach, word was that Tallon was GM again. And then there were some people saying, well, they're publicly saying he's GM or that he's helping, but Tom Rowe's still making decisions, and they just want to give this public persona that they're giving some say to Tallon to try to keep the team, from just overreacting and freaking out. Tallon is the GM again. I give Florida full props for realizing their mistake. I give Florida full props for after what they did with Gerard Gallant, after watching the team flounder from there, rather than just fire Tom Rowe, fire everybody and start fresh, they've admitted there was a flaw, there was an issue, and now they're trying to fix it. So, based on that, Florida wins my respect today. Absolutely. And for anybody who's going, well, the Canucks fired their coach, aren't you going to talk about that? That'll get its own video. Because I don't blame Willie Desjardins for what happened to the Canucks at all. And yeah, I know who Jason Magna is. I get it. but I don't blame them. But that's for another video. So you guys let me know what you guys think of the teams that missed the playoffs. Which ones do you think are going to get back in? Let me know what you guys think about the Florida move. As I said, I think it's a smart move. I think it's the easy move to go back to Tallon. And I think Florida can turn it around quickly with Tallon running the show. And with Tallon back and with direction, Yager probably returns to Florida next year. I could see Yager signing a 2-year deal for less than market value to watch the team get back to where they were. But again, let me know what you guys think. I'm going to start putting things together for the playoff preview videos. I want to do the East today and the West tomorrow. That's my plan. I'm going to do 4 videos for the East, 4 videos for the West. I could do this. I understand the microphone's having issues. I'm going to look into that. So, again, but I am going to buy a new microphone. I get it. I've been through this before. So rather than buying a new webcam again, I'll just buy a studio microphone. It does mean that if I do a video that's not at home, I'll have to do it on my phone. I think it works better on my phone anyways. It was my phone I was using for the Wednesday hockey videos. I think my phone is just fine for videos. They seem to work just fine. So you guys can let me know in the comments below what you think. You've watched my road videos. You've watched my Wednesday hockey videos. Am I better off just using my phone? Just let me know that. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. You're browsing your way through 3,800. I can't believe we're going to hit 3,800 here. But it's going to happen. And it's exciting. And I'm thankful for each and every one of you that are watching this. And yeah, so I will talk to you all again soon.